The following program is presented by the HTM Podcast Network.
Welcome to another episode of Turnbuckle Talk in partnership with thechairshot.com, presented by the Hitting the Marks Podcast Network and in association with NDPW.com. Turnbuckle Talk is sponsored by collarandelbowbrand.com, where you get 10% off when using promo code JKPodcast. Turnbuckle Talk is also partnered with Phoenix at FNXFit.com, where you get 15% off all your health supplements simply by using promo code TBTalkPod. Follow the show on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter by searching at TB Talk Pod. Listen on Podbean, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and everywhere you catch your favorite programs. And now, pro wrestling fanatics, are you ready? Here are your hosts, Mighty Joe Morin and Karl Karufel.
That is right, everybody. I am Karl Karufel, alongside the curator of topics, Mighty Joe, and welcome to Turnbuckle Talk.
Yeah, man, here for another week of Turnbuckle Talk, and as usual, kind of, before we get to all the goings on, how's your last week been, brother?
Last week has been busy as usual. I seem to work and then get a little break. And while I'm on my break and time off, I'm always doing other things, whether it's, research and doing, other things for our two shows that we do, or helping friends out with whatever else they may need. I don't seem to, for some reason, take any time off. So, yeah. You?
Kind of the same thing, starting a new day job. This past week, like I had mentioned, well, you guys wouldn't have heard that yet because we just recorded that the other day, but I have to keep that in mind. It's been a crazy busy week doing this podcasting, talking about wrestling stuff. I mean, with our friends over at Love Wrestling. I mean, like literally almost every single day of the week, with the exception of last night's recap. Because I haven't actually watched the WrestleMania Backlash show yet. That's something I still got to get to. But yeah, man, it's been a crazy busy week talking about professional wrestling and putting out content. It's been a lot of fun, though, I got to say.
That's good. I mean, that's exactly what needs to happen, right? I mean, you've only got this one life to live, so make the most of it.
Absolutely. Having said that, Karl, we do have to unfortunately kick off this week's program with some unfortunate news. On May 14th, it would be 3 days ago, we did lose Jerome Young, better known to the wrestling world as New Jack. What I'll do here, because this one's a tough one, I think that this might end up being quite an in-depth topic that we're going to get into here, but I'm going to actually read the statement put out by WWE. We'll do our 10-bell salute, and then we'll kind of get more into our actual discussion about what's happened here. So WWE is saddened to learn that Jerome Young, known in ECW as New Jack, has passed away today at the age of 58 years old. With his fierce competitive style, New Jack was well known for pushing the limits of hardcore wrestling to their furthest extremes. Young broke into the sports entertainment circuit with the Memphis-based United States Wrestling Association in 1992. Would have been just 2 years old at the time. Upon arrival in Smoky Mountain Wrestling promotion, New Jack teamed with Mustafa Saeed to form the Gangstas tag team. The Gangstas shook up ECW with their debut in 1995, immediately battling Public Enemy in one of the promotion's most storied rivalries. New Jack teamed with Mustafa and Eliminator John Cronus for multiple ECW tag team title reigns. With a trash can filled with makeshift weapons and a signature staple gun in tow, New Jack became one of ECW's most popular anti-heroes, a sports entertainment firebrand who courted controversy and chaos with equal measure. New Jack left a cultural imprint with the use of Natural Born Killers by Ice Cube and Dr. Dre as his theme music that would play throughout matches. He also mentioned in the Weezer. He was also mentioned in the Weezer single El Scorcho and appeared on the television show Early Edition and The Daily Show. The WWE extends its condolences to Young's family and friends. So now we will do a 10-bell salute, and then we will get into a discussion with Karl and myself about this. All right, folks, there we go. It always pains me to have to play this on this podcast, and we unfortunately have had to do it a fair amount of times. They're all tough, Karl, but this one is especially tough because, and I actually love WWE's right up there because you want to talk people who are passionate about professional wrestling. Now, I would definitely, we're not obviously workers in the business, but we do speak about the business. And I would definitely qualify Karl and ourselves as being ones that are very passionate, maybe even love wrestling. Little purposeful pun there. Jerome was one of those ones where, this dude lived and breathed professional wrestling. And as they mentioned, he pushed things to the max. When it came to being what he needed to be, blurring the lines of reality and entertainment. This was a guy that he embodied what it meant to be an extreme style wrestler.
He definitely did, and that was evident throughout everything that he did within his professional wrestling career, whether it was professional wrestling or whether it was in an entertainment-based style company as well. You're right, it is. It's extremely difficult, especially when people that you grew up watching and seeing and essentially following their career so young.
Yeah.
52?
I actually have the information here. He was 58 years old.
58. Okay. So, even 58. All right. I'll be 40 this year in August. It's only 18 more years.
Yep.
And it hurts. It definitely does. I'm at a loss for words. I really am. Yep. Did I know this guy personally? No, I didn't. Did I ever step into the ring with him? No, I didn't. Did I ever work with him on a show? No, I didn't. But I was known as the extreme Canadian Karl Karufel. And did I take some parts and pieces of hardcore and stuff that New Jack or Jerome did? Yeah, definitely I did. That was he was a standard. He was definitely a torchbearer, I guess you could say, when it comes to hardcore wrestling. And then just with the different factions that he was part of, that he essentially helped create and start, just so much that he was very much so influential, and even had a little bit of an impact on me and my career as a professional wrestler and the extreme and hardcore. So Jerome, thank you. I'm sorry. Thank you.
For me, and when it comes to this, it's I'm not typically one to cry on a show, and I'm pretty good at holding them back. But like this one, it hurts because they're not to take anything away from the current crop of wrestling talent. This was a guy that, like I said, he really embodied what it meant to be like extreme, and that this was somebody that was able to get, like, I'm not talking like heat, like I'm talking like nuclear heat, to the point where like you wanted audience members wanted to kill them. Right?
Yeah.
Like that's one of those things where on the babyface side, that's like the equivalent of to maybe give a modern day example, with like what Daniel Bryan did at WrestleMania 30. But on the completely other side of the coin, like to get people to despise you that much as that type of character, you have accomplished exactly what you needed to, and this combined too with our, just shortly, actually put around the same time that I found out about this, watching the Dark Side of the Ring with Brian Pillman. There was another guy that was able to do something very similar to that, to like get people to, and like to peel back the curtain a little while to what he actually managed to do, just venturing briefly off of New Jack, but kind of like in the same vein, sort of, that Brian was able to literally play. He really got to the point where like he was like working both WCW and WWE to better his situation, like to the point where like both Vince and Bischoff didn't know whether they were being worked or not.
Right.
He
was definitely extreme in his own way. Right.
And in that similar vein, you want to talk to somebody that like just able to fully accomplish that. Don saying Hall of Fame, and a professional wrestling Hall of Fame, yes. A WWE Hall of Fame, I think it would almost diminish things for him to be in the WWE Hall of Fame. I think that there should be, I pitched for this before, like a full-on professional wrestling Hall of Fame. And if there was an extreme wing, I mean, New Jack is right near the top, with Terry Funk, with Mick Foley, with Abdullah the Butcher, and those guys, Bruiser Brody. Yeah. The list is very long and, well, not necessarily long, but very distinguished. And yes. New Jack does have a place there. It's like I said, it's just one of those things where, and then there was a very personal and very soft side to him as well, believe it or not. I mean, going back quite a while, I talking with C.W. Anderson, him spending some time with New Jack, and basically saying, that this guy actually had a very fun kind of comedic side to him as well, which was quite something to hear about. But yeah, man, just a big loss, because like I said, there are very few that accomplish what he did to that level, especially these days. I mean, yeah. I don't think you could even attempt. I mean, we're going to kind of, that's essentially going to flow into our next topic here. I don't think you could do New Jack today, flat out. And that is no disrespect to New Jack whatsoever, but let's just move that right into our opening topic here, Karl, is if wrestling would benefit from having essentially another ECW. I'm talking an extreme promotion that is like in the upper echelon. As much as I would love to see it, I don't see you really being able to execute it today. Like, I know that there is CZW, still very, very much grassroots, not in the mainstream whatsoever. There's Game Changer Wrestler to a certain extent, but again, they're not in the it's not every wrestling fan has heard of these places. I'm talking like a mainstream level extreme promotion to the level of an ECW. Honestly, I don't see it happening for a long time.
I don't either. And I think it's because, well, yeah, it's right there.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the issues.
If you're not watching the video, I'll say it. The Snowflakes would never let it happen, says our friend Don Lewis, a.k.a. Bubba Duke. I'm 100% correct. I don't think that, society today would not be very welcoming to that style of professional wrestling once again, which is unfortunate because ECW was it was amazing. It was a game changer. It was innovative. It was different. It was not only did it gather a cult following, but it was mainstream cult following. It wasn't just a select number of people that, those are ECW people. No, this was mainstream. At that time, everyone knew who ECW was, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, CZW, you mentioned them. Yeah. I mean, us that are a little more privy to things, we know about CZW. And some people who just kind of sit there and just flip through YouTube might have seen some CZW stuff with their extreme light tubes and barbed wire and that type of stuff, right? They're extremely shock core type of stuff. Yeah. But majority of that is because of bad publicity over what's happened, right? That's the issue. It's a bad publicity type of thing. I honestly would love to see a promotion be able to come up like that and be mainstream once again. I would welcome it.
Yeah, and there are some other issues to consider as well. Not necessarily to play devil's advocate to a certain extent, but
you should never play with the devil.
But the other thing to keep in mind too with this, and we have seen this, with the ECW and with CZW and some of these others, that style of professional wrestling, it's a hard thing to maintain. One of the simple facts is just it hurts the guys, just plain and simple. I mean, like, especially like if we want to get into conversation with guys, like Abdullah the Butcher, like Zandig, like Nick Gage. I mean, this is just like it's hard to even explain to like the casual and the general fan out there. It's a completely different breed of professional wrestling to where like it's a lot of times like there's legitimate like injuries and cuts and crazy shit going on. There's just no other way to describe it. It's crazy shit with the stuff like with light tubes and cinder blocks and stabbing each other and the head with skewers. I mean, just like, God damn, like it's a completely different ball game. And but unfortunately, like right now, like because I think we have go over the top to a certain extent, it's resulted in that aspect of professional wrestling to be very, very niche. Now, now that niche is very, very loyal and very rabid, but it's very, very niche. Like it's a subset of a subset of a subset in professional wrestling. And it is getting some attention now, because of things like Dark Side of the Ring and that kind of stuff. It's somewhat getting noticed again, but I don't think that we'll ever see an ECW type promotion at that level, just given the things that we've talked about, difficulty to maintain, health issues. I mean, with being cut and stuff all the time, hepatitis and that kind of stuff, COVID, obviously right now, and just the overall perception by the general public. All of those factors just mean that we can't do it. Does that mean that we will never see it again? Not necessarily, but right now, I don't see it.
Yeah, I right now I don't either.
No.
Could it happen? Yes, definitely. Can I see it happening? Yes. Maybe not so much in our lifetime, but yes, I can definitely see a resurgence of extreme professional wrestling coming to the forefront and limelight on mainstream. What will mainstream be when we're dead and gone? I got no clue. But I think at some point we definitely will see mainstream again when it comes to extreme wrestling. Yeah.
thankfully, a lot of this content can be watched, whether it be on the WWE Network. At least for us here in Canada, I think a good portion of that content is still available. And in some other places in the United States, like through Peacock, I know a lot of that kind of stuff is being censored. So it's very unfortunate for our American friends. But, hopefully if you still have the VHS tapes or the DVDs or that kind of stuff, hold on to those closely. But yeah, I mean, we'll always be able to, I think, look back on this kind of stuff. But going forward, it's very, very much up in the air. Not, I won't say dead to a certain extent, because, I mean, it does still live on, but just in a very niche place. And it's one of those things we'll see. But I think that we may be long gone before we see like a full-on resurgence of it. But, it is keep in mind, it is the crazy world of professional wrestling. So, right. I mean, I guess you can never say never. But for now, I think we could say unlikely.
Yeah.
All right, Karl, going from that to some AEW stuff here. And maybe not just some AEW stuff, but I think just kind of talking about it's COVID, right? That's really at the root of the discussion with this particular topic. AEW is essentially saying that come July, we're running full tilt again. We're going to be touring, and we're going to have full-on audiences. There's even the rumor with WWE that supposedly SummerSlam will be happening in Madison Square Garden with people in attendance. That would be absolutely fantastic.
Yes.
And yet here in Canada, to a large extent, or at least in the province of Ontario, we're still wearing these things on our faces. It's a frustrating thing to talk about, because I do understand the precautions to a certain extent. But at the same time, it's like a lot of our American friends are already walking around without masks on. I don't even know how to really approach this topic here, Karl, because I get it. At the same time, too, I know you're probably going to approach this differently than I am. I also don't want to see us jump the gun too much and end up right back where we were at, right? I don't want to, like I said, this is a hard thing to talk, because I don't like getting into conspiracy territory at all, especially on this program, because I don't want to alienate too much of our audience. I don't know, man. I want to see crowds back with wrestling badly, because it needs it. What's your take on this, man? I want to get your full-on take on this. Don't hold back.
Oh, you want my full-on take?
I want your full-on take.
Okay, here goes.
Yeah.
Love me, hate me, unfriend me, delete me, block me, whatever you want after this. I really don't care. Here is my full-on take. Just as Don has said there, Canada's overreacting. Okay? Canada's just overreacting for a condition that has negatively affected 1% of those that contracted the COVID-19. Everyone has overreacted. This has become nothing but political. And I know, we're kind of getting into conspiracy theory shit stuff going on here, but this is how I feel. I don't believe that this is as monumental as it has been made out to be. It's pretty evident when Florida and Texas reopened, and they're not all dead. Mm-hmm. And essentially, they are going without being affected by COVID-19. Okay? So they have opened themselves up.
Yeah.
And they're just fine. So this has all been way overboard on this entire thing. Have people gotten sick? Yes, they definitely have. Have people died? Yes, they definitely have. Now all of this is just agendas upon agenda upon agenda. And this is all just trying to get everyone to comply. And it's about time that some of these places are starting to say, no, we're not going to comply with that, and we are going to open up and continue our livelihood. Because that's what it is.
Yeah.
When you have a government that is offering you free beer, free wings, free money, giving you all of this stuff, if you get the vaccine, there's something wrong there.
Yeah.
If you're having to pay people to get a vaccine, there's something wrong there. Mm-hmm. Now, on the issue of that, If you want to get the vaccine, get the vaccine. If you don't want to get the vaccine, don't get the vaccine. And keep your mouth shut. Don't be out there posting all over Facebook, all of you people who aren't getting this are killing people. And don't go out there going, look at how proud and good I am. I'm such a good person. I got the vaccine. Ooh, second shot, all done. Ooh, shut your mouth. Because now you're pressuring everybody else, and you shouldn't be. But as soon as somebody says, ooh, that's disgusting, you got the vaccine, they're all over them. Mm-hmm. And that is disgusting to me. Disgusting. Just keep your mouth shut. That's all. Now, when it comes to all of this with professional wrestling, I'm happy that AEW is going back to full capacity because they're in Florida, and Florida has opened up, and Florida has shown and proven that opening up and saying, you don't have to wear your mask. If you're out in public, you don't do whatever you want. You don't have to wear your mask, be as close as you want to people, all of this stuff. Everything's okay, right? The governor has even said, I'm not issuing fines. I'm not making people pay these ridiculousnesses. I'm not having that. It'll all be taken care of. It'll all be annulled. It'll all be done. It'll all be taken care of. Don't worry about it. And they're perfectly fine.
Yeah.
It's been proven. Right there. So I'm happy that AEW is opening up and saying, hey, we're okay. Mm-hmm. We're going to get through this. Everything's fine. So I think if more companies start to follow suit, it'll be absolutely fantastic because then we're getting the people back into the stands and the seats and the arenas and getting exactly what we want is those people in the seats.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm done. Go ahead.
I do want to make sure that we're not, and I'm not necessarily saying that. I'm not saying that you're with you on this, but just kind of in general, I want to make sure too that we're not being insensitive to those who have died of COVID-19 because. Clearly, I mean, for those, because there is the completely radical side where people are like, oh no, this isn't killing anybody. Clearly it has. So we don't want to be insensitive to people's families who have had people die of COVID-19. It's a reality. And I do want to address something in the chat here. COVID-19 is not equal to the Spanish flu. The Spanish flu was way more infectious and killed a lot more people. The Spanish flu is actually one of the deadliest pandemics that this planet has ever seen. So just I want to make that correction there, Don. The two are not equal by any stretch of the imagination. They are completely different.
I believe just to add on to that super quick, I believe the Spanish flu was like 18% of those perished, whereas with COVID-19, it's only like 1.1%, something like that.
It had largely to do with what had happened because I mean we're talking after World War I, and then. After the war, like everybody went all over the place, so that facilitated that spreading all over the place. So that also made it far more infectious as well. Because I mean, it went worldwide. Like almost everybody on this planet had exposure to the Spanish flu at that point. It was crazy, but yeah, man, it's a frustrating thing because I know that. Obviously, there's some issues with it, but still at the same time, you know, the lifelong professional wrestling fan in me wants crowds back because I've said it before, wrestling is at its best when we have fans reacting and accentuating the action going on. I long for those days. And then like even in our show, Turnbuckle Rewind, you know, the majority, all of those matches that we've been talking about have had like tons of fans, tons of great fans in that. So I miss it. Yeah. And I'm excited to see it back sooner than later.
It looks as though I just want to put this out there. It looks as though what the point that Don was trying to make is that people are equating COVID-19 to like the Spanish flu and going that overboard with things, right?
Gotcha.
They're making it feel and seem as though it's as bad as the Spanish flu.
Yeah, and
so that's kind of what I'm getting from the additional comments that Don has put there.
Gotcha. Okay, let's move on from that to...
Oh, wait.
What do you got?
I just noticed I lost like 60 people off my Facebook.
Oh, seriously?
No.
Let's go to some somewhat WWE-related a topic here. This one's kind of it might not be necessarily the right term for this. very secretive, which is unusual actually in this kind of scenario here. We're talking about Keith Lee. Probably like one of the most talented big guys to come along in wrestling in quite a long time. You know, definitely in the same vein as like your Shane Taylors and whatnot. He's basically been off camera and not been doing anything for a fair amount of time here. It doesn't appear to be an injury of any kind.
Nope.
It's like just his status is just like completely up in the air. It's different. Like I don't think I've come across something like this where like pretty well genuinely across the board, people in WWE have been radio silence about it, and even like the dirt sheets and all that kind of stuff. Like nobody knows what's going on with this guy. It's unusual to say the very least, and I'm wondering what's really going on here, and I don't even really have any good legitimate speculation at this point. Like other than is maybe he's unhappy and possibly looking to go elsewhere, but they're trying to do their best to get him to stick around. That's about the only thing that I could even remotely think of at this point.
It's been food poisoning, and he's been taking a really long shit. I have no clue, dude. No clue.
It's I can't think of the last time something like this has happened. Like I don't think even Meltzer, who has like a lot of the inside information, even he doesn't have a friggin' clue. I just hope that he's okay. I just hope that he's that maybe I'm thinking maybe it's a mental health issue.
Could be.
Maybe because I mean we saw something similar to that with like Mauro Ranallo and I can't think of her name. She like had a very short stint in Impact and AEW, and then she didn't even debut because she got freaked out by the crowd. I forget her name. Maybe, like I said, maybe it's just a mental health issue. And if that's the case, step away for as long as you need to, dude. Because and if you need to shift to more like a trainer type of role or whatnot, there's some people that, when it gets to the big stage and all the bright lights, some people just can't handle it. That I didn't think that was necessarily the case with this guy. Again, this is all just purely speculation. I'm going off of nothing here. I'm trying to figure out. Like I said, at the end of the day, I just hope the dude's okay. That's it, right? Because I mean, like he is just like persona-wise awesome, off the charts, like physicality off the charts. I mean, he's got everything that you want in a professional wrestler, and it's it's a bummer to not see him doing what he does best. So
it is what it is until we find out. We don't know, unfortunately. Yeah. So it looks like we're just going to have to sit back, relax, and wait and see what happens when it comes to the one Mr. Keith Lee.
Yeah, man. All right. Well, before we get to our breaking news and match of the week and all that good stuff here, let's take a bit of a brief break here and hear from our good friends over at collarandelbowbrand.com, and we'll be right back.
Wrestling. A love and a passion we all share. I've started a wrestling brand. The wrestling brand. A brand founded on the aspects of wrestling. Two entities working together to create a product that connect emotionally for people everywhere. Collar and Elbow is the brand. Passion and love for wrestling is the drive. I am Al Snow, and this is Collar and Elbow, the wrestling brand.
The dictionary defines hero as a person who is admired or idealized for courage, outstanding achievements, or noble qualities. Being a hero in life is far more than words printed on a page. It takes an unwavering code, a compass that points true north always. And in times like these, it takes sacrifice. Hero shouldn't be a word defined by a dictionary. It's a word that should be defined by the best of us. Hero has a new definition.
All right, guys, Mighty Joe and Karufel back here on Turnbuckle Talk. As you heard from our friend Al Snow over at collarandelbowbrand.com, if you use our promo code JKPodcast at the checkout, you get 10% off your entire order. You can see it on our ticker right below there. Go and check it out. Tons of great merchandise, including, as I say every single week, including that hat that I'm amazed that the thing isn't worn out by now. He has it all the time.
It has faded. The color in it has faded dramatically. It was a midnight black, like pitch black, like Joe's hat right now. And it no longer is. I mean, here, I will even, for those of you that are seeing the video, like it has faded to like a gray charcoal type of color. It's quite faded.
All right, let us get to our... Let me bring it up here. Breaking news. So the first thing that I want to cover here is... I'm not even sure how to kind of approach this, and I want to give him two press, kind of give them the nature of it. We're talking about Mr. Austin Aries, who just can't seem to do things that will endear him to wrestling fans. He's very, very good at putting his foot in his mouth and just shitting on the same people that you're trying to get over with. I don't even want to read the interactions because it's really bad and really negative. It's unfortunate to see a guy of his talent to just kind of shoot himself in the foot so many times. I mean, pretty much every promotion that he's been in, he finds a way to ruin it for himself. It's unfortunate. Dude's super talented, just can't get out of his own way. It's painful to see, but maybe eventually he'll see the where he's gone wrong and kind of turn over a new leaf, but I'm not very optimistic with that. But it is what it is, and I don't want to say too much more about it. The next thing I want to just talk about...
No, I want to jump in there for a second.
Sure, go ahead, Karl.
Austin Aries.
Yeah.
Okay. Get your head out of your ass and maybe do as the Iron Sheik says and be a little humble, okay?
Or he'll make you humble.
I think that is his biggest issue. Yeah. He has absolutely no humbleness, it seems. Yeah. I don't know the guy personally, but from every issue that has happened, that's what it seems like. It seems like he figures that he is the highest of the high and the best of the best, and nobody can tell him what to do. He needs to humble himself a little bit.
Yeah.
Done. Okay.
Done. So going from that to Karl to, like I said, I haven't actually watched it yet, but I thought we touched kind of briefly on WrestleMania Backlash. I believe you had a chance to watch the majority of the show, correct?
Yeah.
So I guess we'll touch on kind of I think the majority of the show kind of panned out like I had kind of expected, but there was one thing. And I think you already know what I'm talking about. Damian Priest versus The Miz. Typically, when I'm expecting what's referred to as a lumberjack match, we have the other wrestlers there in their gimmick. That wasn't what we got here. Now, I want to try and approach this in as optimistic way as I possibly can here. It's professional wrestling, right? I get it. Silly and stupid shit happens all the time in this business. But I don't know. I don't know which way to approach this. I'm at a loss for words. What did you think of this? What did you think? You're somebody that's worked in the business and you've seen a lot of crazy stuff. This ranks right up there with weird, silly stuff, does it not?
Absolute utter shit. When you hear about Vince McMahon saying this is such good shit, this was not part of that good shit. Yeah, this is I'm just calling it out like it is. Mm-hmm. This was just shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I get it. They're trying to promote a movie that a former worker, Batista, is in. I get it. Okay. And I understand that this might be a good way and a little bit of an opening for some developmental talent to be able to get out there a little bit and be able to take some higher impact moves like they did within this matchup. I get that. Okay. This was not professional wrestling. This was not a professional wrestling lumberjack match. This was shit entertainment that they are trying to pass off as a wrestling match. That's all that this was that I saw. Complete, utter shit. I'm sorry. There are people out there that absolutely loved this and loved that they were being able to get the word out there for this movie, for Batista and all of this stuff. Okay, cool. There are so many other different ways that they could have gone about this. They could have had that little segment where Johnny Drip Drip went to the back, saw these zombies that were there, and just have the zombies roam around the arena for the rest of the night. Have them checking out the screens there from the Thunderdome going, what is this? This is and trying to grab and eat at the people that are in the video screen or something. While a matchup is not going on, you have that as just a little side thing and allowed that to happen to put this over.
Yeah.
Between matches, have some of the zombies come up and go over to Corey Graves and eat that guy's head off because I don't care about Corey Graves. So they can take him away and eat him. Okay, cool. But they ended up apparently killing and eating the Miz or something in the middle of the ring while Damian Priest stood up at the and like what? So okay, so my biggest issue with this here is that you had people within the WWE that were looking at AEW and what they did with this this pay-per-view that they had just gone through and saying that this set it back 30 years. What the what do you think this just did?
Here's my take on this, okay? Now, keeping in mind, I've only seen pictures. I haven't watched the actual match. I'm going to approach this from a bit of a different angle here. But I still think that our viewers, and you'll even appreciate this here, Karl, for me, it's not so much what they did that's the issue for me. It's the fact that there was no context or reason for it with these two guys. If there was some context or some kind of setup to justify it, fine and dandy. It would make sense, right? Like, for example, All In, right? We have, what was it? It was Adam Page versus Joey Janela, right? On Being the Elite or whatever their YouTube show is there, right? They literally killed Mr. Joey Ryan, right? And
yes.
So then he came back at the show and they had inflatable penises. I can't word it any other way. Inflatable penises on the ramp to basically bring Paige to the back. Like it was dumb and silly, but it made sense in the context of what was happening. So it was what it was. I think like I said, the issue isn't what they did. It's the fact that there was no setup or context for it whatsoever. It's like, well, we weren't happy with just having the gimmick of the lumberjack match. We had to throw this in there when there was no setup for it. Like to me, that's just the weirdest part of it. Like I said, it would work if it made sense, but just like why? Like I'm sure I don't know. We'll see. Maybe next week. I'll have actually watched this potentially, or maybe I won't even bring it up. Maybe I'll forget about it when I write the run, and we'll just move on with our lives. But yeah, man, just it's and what annoys me even more about this here, Karl. I was a big Punishment Martinez fan when he was in Ring of Honor, and the fact that he's relegated to doing comedy shtick essentially at this point, damn. And the even more frustrating part is that he is somebody that's defending this. Like, wow.
Right.
I guess at the end of the day, money talks, and the rest, you know what, walks. When you're being paid, then I guess you gotta put it over as best you can. But I seem to watch it. I might not. I mean, there's so much wrestling content out there to consume, so much better wrestling content, even done by this company that's so much better that, you're right, I might not even bother, but I might satisfy my curiosity at some point. But I don't think there's too many redeeming values there. The rest of the show, I mean, was pretty good. They did some good stuff there. I felt that, especially in the championship matches, that they booked things correctly. With the exception of the Mysterios, I felt that waiting for a crowd would have been a better time for that, especially given that it was a big first that they should have wait to actually get a bigger pop. But it is what it is. But yeah, man, I don't know what else to say about that particular thing. You got any other breaking news that you want to bring up, or did we pretty much cover what we wanted
to? The only breaking news that I really have is that world famous Jon Moxley made his way over to Game Changer Wrestling. He showed up out of the blue at a Game Changer Wrestling event and gave the fans a worthwhile night. Mm-hmm. I think that is awesome. That is amazing. And that is what professional wrestling should be about. Even though he works for, has held, championships within AEW, still holds the United States Championship with New Japan Pro Wrestling. Yep. But he's able to go to these different events to be able to get himself out there a little more. And get the companies that he's working for out there a little bit more as well. This went viral. Like, this was mainstream viral for Jon Moxley simply going to a Game Changer Wrestling event. And now more people know about Game Changer Wrestling. No. Like, how amazing is that? He's lending himself, not only putting himself over, but putting this company over as well now. Not a lot of people understand that type of work. Everybody believes that if you're working for this company, you work for that company and that's it. You don't do anything else. You don't go anywhere else. That's a bunch of bull crap, and it shouldn't be that way. Yep. It should be open like this, because professional wrestling is professional wrestling. It's bigger than just a company. Yep. And we need to make sure that we're exploiting that. I will use that word. We need to exploit that. Yeah. And we need to make sure that it is not just as big as a single company, because professional wrestling isn't.
Absolutely. Well said there. I would imagine, if that's where he went, that they must be setting up something with him and Gage, right? I mean, that's the no-brainer,
probably. Right?
Yep. So probably some kind of death match between those crazy mothers will soon ensue, and it's something I'll probably have to check out as squeamish as I can kind of get with some of that kind of stuff. All right, man.
Before we move on, I know where you're going. Mm. You're going to our next little segment, right? Mm. Before we do that, though, I need to make sure that I have a drink of our non-sponsored Dr. Pepper.
There you go. And we'll give him a few seconds for that. You good?
I'm good.
All right. Match of the Week segment. Here we go. All right, so for our Match of the Week segment here, let's get the age-old debate out of the way here first. You first or me first?
Me first.
What do you got?
Coming from the pre-show, I absolutely loved seeing Sheamus versus Ricochet, which was available on YouTube for free to anybody that wanted to watch it from WrestleMania Backlash. Absolutely amazing. I mean, it was only 7 minutes and 10 seconds long, but I was invested in the entire thing and absolutely loved it. If you have not checked that one out, Mighty Joe, go and check it out, because it was fantastic. My match of the week.
There we go. For myself, I'm going to kill two birds with one stone with this. My match of the week is actually going to be our match for Turnbuckle Rewind coming up on Wednesday. Not Thursdays anymore. We've moved over to the Wednesday time slot, and we're talking from WrestleMania 3. Of course, we are talking about Macho Man Randy Savage versus Ricky the Dragon Steamboat for the Intercontinental title. largely accepted as one of the greatest professional wrestling matches of all time. That is a mouthful. Holy crap, it was good, and I love talking about it, and I want to watch it again now, having just spoken about it again. And, of course, I don't want to give it away, but there's actually some stuff that I didn't even know about that match that you'll have to wait and find out when we release the episode, because I was very, very pleasantly surprised to find out some of the inner workings of what happened there. So very, very cool stuff. All right, let us get to our final segment for this week. We're talking our Showstopper segment. All right, so for our Showstopper segment for this week, I figured we'd come back full circle with Extreme Wrestling and look back on our favorite Extreme Wrestling matches of all time here. In usual Mighty Joe fashion, I actually have my clear favorite and a very close runner-up here. But you know what? Since you went first on our Match of the Week segment, I'm going to go first with our Showstopper segment here. For me, my favorite Extreme match, I mean, it was a no-brainer for me. Like it just popped in my head right away. For me, it's Hell in a Cell with Undertaker and Mick Foley. For me, like hands down, like that's the clear number one. Like for the sole reason that it's one of the most, I don't even know the proper way to word it. Like when it comes to like gutsy performances by an individual. We're talking Mick Foley. What he went through in that match, I'm lost for words. Still to this day, what that dude did, like essentially, like when it comes to that Hell in a Cell, especially that original one, to climb that cell at the best of times is an accomplishment. To do it after you dislocated your shoulder and your teeth are essentially have gone through your jaw, and you've already gone through like just everything about that. I mean, it's absolutely like ridiculously incredible and just insane. Like I don't know any other ways to kind of describe it. Just like it's one of like the craziest things that to this day that I've seen from two of my favorites of all time. I mean, damn, like I could spend a whole hour just talking about it.
Let me go with mine, and then I'll let you do your second because, I did not pick a second, but if I had to, Undertaker, Mankind. Yeah. Sure. Mine comes from Destination X, 2007. We are looking at Abyss versus Sting in a last rites match where Sting ultimately picked up the victory over Abyss by getting Abyss into a casket, and then the casket was raised up to the ceiling. So just, kind of extreme, kind of hardcore, kind of really different and out there, but with two of, in my opinion, best workers out there of all time when it comes to professional wrestling. Yeah. And especially Abyss, being able to do the hardcore stuff that Abyss has done in his career. Absolutely fantastic. Always carrying around that little bag with thumbtacks in it, or that little bag that had glass shards or whatever. I love Abyss, dude. Yeah. Abyss is just amazing. There is my pick. Abyss, Sting, Destination X 2007 Last Rites match. What's your number two?
Before I get to that, Abyss, I've always thought of, he was like a combination of Undertaker, Mankind, and Bruiser Brody. That's about the best way I could describe Abyss. I mean, that dude has done some crazy, insane stuff. And, Yeah, that's about all I can say. Absolutely incredible. My very, very, very close runner-up for this year, Karl. I was torn whether to actually pick this as my actual favorite. We're going back to WrestleMania 12 in 1996 here, and you may already can see where I'm going with this here. We're talking about the Hollywood Backlot Brawl with Rowdy Piper and Goldust. You wanted to talk something that like blurred the lines between reality and fiction or entertainment or wrestling or whatever you want to call it. This was one of those moments where like there was some legitimate shoot stuff that happened here, like punches and like vehicle stuff. I mean, dude, like we even went like completely insane, and we even included chase the part of the chase footage from the OJ chase. I mean, wow. I mean, this is like one of those truly iconic things that this would be something that's a future Turnbuckle Rewind match. Absolutely. This is like still like one of my favorite wrestling moments of all time that just happens to include my favorite professional wrestler of all time and Rowdy Piper. I mean, like you want to talk like just iconic moments in professional, that for me, like this ranks right near the top. This is like something that I'll be like 80 years old and I'm still going to be a fan of this. Like it
definitely.
It was so like just like everything about it is just like so like over the top professional wrestling. It's just absolutely fantastic. Yep. It's something that I want to maybe even after we're done doing this and I've got everything recorded, I might sit down tonight and actually watch that. That's how much I want to see it again and how much of a fan I am of both of those guys, and just what they executed there is like stuff of history and legend and Hall of Fame worthy and all those other stuff.
Here's a little something from our loyal friend and listener, Don Lewis, a.k.a. Bubba Duke, Hardcore Holly, when they went and wrestled outside the arena into the Mississippi River.
There we go.
Yeah. Definitely something there that is a little bit hardcore, a little bit extreme. The Mississippi River, especially, I believe at that time, would have been like frigid cold. Yeah. So, yeah.
There we go. All right, man. Well, I guess that about wraps up here for this week. We covered a lot of territory this week, talking about some unfortunate stuff, talking about stuff that delights us, some stuff that is frustrating. We covered like the whole gambit here this week. Absolutely fantastic. But before we do go here for this week, Karl, I want to give you the floor to talk about our wonderful sponsors before we check out for today.
That's right. Phoenix over at fnxfit.com is where you can go for all your supplement needs and workout shirts and shorts. Go and check them out at fnxfit.com. Use our promo code TBTalkPod and you're going to get 15% off your entire purchase over at fnxfit.com. We spoke earlier about our friends over at collarandelbowbrand.com and how amazing are they. Right now, they do have tribute shirt for New Jack available for purchase with the proceeds going to New Jack's family. Go over to collarandelbowbrand.com. Make sure you use our promo code JKPodcast. You're going to get 10% off your entire purchase on anything and everything that you purchase from there, whether it's brand new or clearanced merchandise. And make sure you check out some of those tribute shirts because all the proceeds from any of those tribute shirts go to the family of that friend and fallen hero. So make sure you check out collarandelbowbrand.com. Use that promo code JKPodcast.
Absolutely. And just to reiterate again, coming up this Wednesday on Turnbuckle Rewind, Steamboat versus Macho Man for Turnbuckle Rewind. I'm stoked for you guys to hear it, and I hope you'll be as excited as we were to do it, for you guys to listen to it and watch along if you so wish. So there we go.
And for all of you thousands of people that have now unfriended and unfollowed me, just go and follow us on our social media pages then, okay? At TB Talk Pod on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. That's going to be the best place for you to go. You don't have to listen to my BS, but you can still get the great content coming from Turnbuckle Talk. That's at TB Talk Pod on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
And there you go. All right. We'll see you guys on the next one.
It's me. It's an R&B to beat. As you can tell in the background, we are out celebrating. That is what we do here at hittingthemarks.com. And I invite everyone to continue to tune in to Turnbuckle Talk, but check out all of our other shows. We have weekly content, especially lit up by the flagship show. You can find that all at hittingthemarks.com.
Run.